Što na zemlji kaluzi, sijate ko angeli, sijate ko angeli.
Dobro dan, dobro ljudi i dobrodošli na moj kanal. Moje ime je Vojvoda Johannesburga i danas ćemo pričati o tome kako naučiti različite jezike. Hajde da počnemo. Good day, good people, and welcome to my channel. I am the Duke of Johannesburg, and today we're going to speak a little bit about how to learn various other languages. And advice that I would give to any potential language learners or any first-time learners of language. So, before we begin with absolutely blowing the minds of native speakers in their own language, let's begin with a little bit of context. Hajde da počnemo. So, before we start blowing the minds of native speakers in their own language and flipping their lids with our GigaChad comprehension of their own lexicon, let's start with a bit of context. So, like most people that grew up in Johannesburg speaking primarily English, I have always had a somewhat proficient understanding and ability to speak Afrikaans, as well as being able to speak pretty much enough Zulu to be able to introduce myself and to ask for things in shops and restaurants and such, but other than that, basically maintaining quite a lazy approach to language learning, just like most people within the general Anglosphere. Sort of adopting the approach of, well, why should I learn other people's languages when they can all already speak mine? And of course, this all changed, and quite dramatically, upon first attending a Serbian Orthodox Christian church. This is after my conversion and baptism into Orthodox Christianity. And basically, what I realized is there's a very wide variety of Orthodox Christian literature available in the Serbian language that one simply just can't access in English. This, as well as wanting to be able to communicate more effectively with my Orthodox Christian brothers and sisters. So, about a year ago, I began my language learning journey. And this was essentially my first time actively trying to learn a language on my own esteem, as opposed to being forced to by the school curriculum. So, after much hard work and time put into it, I can finally say that while not quite being at GigaChad Steve Kaufman 20 language polyglot level, I am finally at a level of being able to actually maintain a decent enough conversation with somebody in the Serbian language who is a first language Serbian speaker. I'm also able to fairly comfortably consume content in Serbian and to read books and articles and only have to actually underline maybe every 10th word to translate it later, rather than the initial every second word as it was in the beginning. And I figured, with that and with the proliferation of the internet polyglot craze, I would offer some reasonable and actually attainable advice for, as I said, any first-time or potential language learners. So, the first piece of advice that I would give you, and I think that this is quite important, is to set yourself an attainable goal. So, we've all seen the YouTube videos with titles like GigaChad Genius White Boy Learns How to Speak Fluent, let's say, Outer Mongolian in 3 hours and absolutely blows the minds of native speakers, woo woo! And look, well, I'm not saying that they're lying or even exaggerating, and I'm not saying that you're not a genius or a GigaChad, but one shouldn't set one's expectations based upon outliers. So, learning a language is really a long journey and quite a hard journey, and it's a process that definitely takes time. Even with an IQ of 3,000 or 4,000, you can't really ever expect to actually absorb an entire lexicon through osmosis. So you'll still need to actually grow into a point of fluency. So that being said, set yourself a realistic and attainable goal. Stick to given study times that you've set aside for yourself, and pace yourself and expect a challenge. And of course, if you do set your goals based upon these ridiculously unrealistic expectations, you're really at the end of the day setting yourself up for disappointment and are very likely to actually give up on your language learning endeavor completely. Point number 2 that I'd like to bring up is to speak with native speakers. Yes, off screen as well, and not only to blow their minds and flip their lids for YouTube ad revenue, but actually allowing yourself to make mistakes rather than just parroting a bunch of rehearsed dialogue to make yourself look like a genius. Actually allow for the opportunity to be corrected and to actually truly develop towards a point of actual fluency and understanding of the idiom. So don't be afraid to humble oneself. Socrates himself said that the wisest man is he who is able to admit that he knows nothing, or something along those lines. And I would also say that this definitely plays into the original GigaChad polyglot Steve Kaufman's approach of learning a language through immersion. Now, point number 3 that I would bring up is consume media that you would want to understand. And this can consist of books and TV and movies and any sort of media that's really at your level of understanding. Even children's books. Čitao sam ovaj knjiga o Svetom Sarafim Sarovski za decu i bilo je vrlo interesantno I jako zabavno. And upon doing that, underline words or phrases that you don't understand and add it to your vocabulary list. And don't just simply remember vocabulary for the sake of it, but take that vocabulary and apply it to making sentences, ensuring that you actually have an understanding of the correct usage of those words and the ability to be able to conjugate cases correctly and to actually be able to construct proper dialogue with those set words. Learn also how to describe daily tasks that you do in your target language so that you're actually able to, at some level, be able to think in your target language while going about your day-to-day tasks, as it were. Now, the 4th and final piece of advice that I would give to any potential or beginner language learners, which actually might be somewhat controversial in the realm of internet polyglots, is to actually find yourself a teacher of your target language. Now, one can actually learn quite a lot by being self-taught, and so did I for quite some time, and also, of course, through the uses of apps and flashcards and other sort of resources that are available online. But a teacher will be able to identify your particular weak points within the language and work through them with you. And used in addition to being self-taught and the consumption of media and apps and flashcards and all of those various things that are readily available, you can really cover all angles of the language learning spectrum. And if you can't find a teacher, or you simply don't have the time or can't afford a teacher, then find a YouTube channel in which somebody is giving online lessons in your particular target language, and treat that as if it was a lesson. So set aside a particular time of day or particular days of the week in which you watch that channel and pay close attention to it, take notes, and treat it as if you are having a one-on-one session with a teacher in your dobro. So hopefully at least some of the advice that I've given in this video you can find useful or applicable to your own potential language learning journey. And I hope that I have been able to help at least somewhat. If you liked the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the bell, and all of the other various things that YouTubers tell you to do. And until next time, stay blessed. Duke of Johannesburg, out.